off my plate, but the biggest thing for me is we weren't sure for my boys' team how many players we were going to have. And today, all of a sudden, somehow we have 19 players on the roster. So now we got to figure out which kids we need to move up and down. So it's a good problem.
When it rains, it pours, right?
Yeah.
I got one. So Papa came to my school to go film today. He was some of my JV guys, and it was cool because I know he's from Senegal, and I have a player from Senegal, and so he wasn't there, so I had to get him out of class. So I'm like it's pretty rare that two people from Senegal get to be at the same little campus over here. So it was really cool because they came in, they were speaking, because I've heard my buddy speak French, but I've never heard him speak, more native Senegalese language, and it was awesome. They both saw each other and they started going, and it was really cool to see that because they just talked for a while too after Papa filmed, and so it was really cool. And Diop, my player, he's really excited about it, so it was a pretty cool thing.
Anybody else? All right, and I think we can get started with our meeting tonight. And as I mentioned, guys, this is one of the shorter meetings. It is really just kind of wrapping up the course as a whole.
Coach Adam, I have some good news. Sorry, is that what we were sharing good news of the week?
Yes.
I have a club coaching tryout in a way, and I found a club around me that I could use to record. They'll
inclusive, fun, and safe for children, ages U7 to U12. Something just moved. Promoting their love for the game. Goal to support student coaches in developing the competencies essential to encourage player participation in inclusive environments. And then it's kind of moving around. The focus, age is U7 U12. Main learning objectives: create a safe, positive, and inclusive coach-player relationship. Create and implement an age-appropriate game plan in a developmentally appropriate environment. And
today, and I like that. So that's helped me.
To hit it a couple of different ways, but ultimately your larger point, you have to hit multiple times, 3 or 4 different activities all in one practice to make them actually get it, like to just reinforce it enough that they'll actually take it with them into the weekend and into the game.
Thank you for sharing out, Tyler. I hope I didn't make you swallow your pride too much. I will say, just as an example, I'm starting with a new team this week, and so they're learning me, I'm learning them. And tonight we worked on supporting the attack. So just getting the ball up to the highest player, and then how do we support? Just the idea of getting bodies forward, because I know this team that I'm taking has struggled to score. We did an activation activity. I brought up the key points. I asked the guided questions. We get to our last scrimmage, and it took 20 minutes of the scrimmage to find that moment once. And when they found it, oh my God, you better believe I celebrated it. But the point is, if we did it again tomorrow night, it would probably still take rehearsals, rehashing, getting it going, because these kids take a while to really learn and master. So patience is a virtue. Thank you for sharing out. Does anybody else want to share out their own reflections from the course?
I can jump in one. I'll go and then you go, Papa. I was in a funny position starting the course because I sort of had a small career coaching something else, and then I love and know a lot about soccer, but I've never really coached soccer, and I was hoping and my expectations in the beginning were that eventually those will kind of be put together and find some progress, which is happening, which is fun, and I thought I would learn a lot of classroom stuff and the text and going through the work. But like the takeaway is meant to be, it's player centered. It's we're responding to players, and I was just blown away getting to coach players for the first time. Some of that was coaching you coaches, and then it was coaching some real players. Not that you aren't real players, but
they are.
Some we learned some are. There's one guy who's a real player. We won't say who. but no, it was awesome. I was like blown away after my first session coaching an activity because I did percentage things that I had learned immediately from doing that. So it's definitely a lesson that like the more we all coach now, hopefully that we have the mind to make those insights. Led a little bit from this week or this month with Adam and Toomey. But if we have the mind for those insights, we learn so much by just actually coaching.
Awesome. Papa, did you want to weigh in as well?
Yes. Yeah, I can say like I learned a lot. I got a lot of information, and as I'm saying, I'm making the transition between player and being a coach. So I have some ideas, but here I learned like, for example, how I'm gonna transfer those ideas to the kids, especially if they are different ages, because each age there is a way that you talk to them, so they will understand better. Because if you talk, for example, you think like the same way that you are coaching adult is the same way that you're coaching kids, it can be wrong. So the kids, they have their own vocabulary, if I can say, and the adults, yeah, you can use others' words to explain to them, and they will understand. So yeah, those information was like, I was like, oh wow, I thought like I got some, but no. This is the real deal right now. Yeah, and it was something that I'm grateful for you, and I meet new people, new guys here, and yeah, thank you for everything.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that out. Okay. Anybody else want to share out their own reflections from the course?
I do.
Go for it.
I just want to thank you, Coach Adam and Coach Toomey. You make that information very easy to digest, very easy to follow, and I always took pride in being a coach, but I realized that I have quite a little bit to go. I have quite a few instructor certifications of trainings that I do, and I take pride in being a good instructor, and you guys were actually really good role models for me. I appreciate that.
That's very kind. I should note here, guys, that flattering us will help you in your path to earning your D license. I should have been clear about that from week one, but yes, that is fair sway. Victor, that is very kind of you. I appreciate it. And I think I mentioned this. On my end, I can speak for myself. I really enjoy these courses because I see you guys growing. And I think Toomey and I, without even, discussing this, we started to push you guys a little bit in that second weekend because I think there is so much potential for very strong coaching in this group. So I hope that you guys took it as such. I'm going to push forward, if it's okay with everyone, so we can get you guys out here on an early night, and we'll start talking about the summative assessments. So the summative assessment is the last thing that you guys need to do for this course, okay? And we showed you guys this at the start of the course, but we'll review it here. This is your assessment of learning. So the formative assessments were the in-person stuff we did, the assignments that we've done so far, but this is really your ability to show what you've learned. So your competencies is a term that we use a lot in these courses. What are the coach competencies we're looking for the D course? At the halfway track, at that first in-person meeting, we got a lot of feedback and a lot of discussion, both group and individual. But now it is your time to shine with these 3.2 videos. This is the assessment form that we will use on your 3.2, which then becomes your assessment for the course. These top 4 categories are yes or no. So they have to be green for you to pass the course. And when you look at these, you guys have done a good job of hitting these benchmarks. Participation, assignments on time, commitment to the learning process, respectful behavior towards players, peers, educators, and others. Almost all of you have been spot on, no issues. I will say that a handful of the coaches in my group have a few assignments under revision still. Let's get those done so I can make sure to mark the on-time assignments in green, because again, these reds will prevent you from earning your license. The next set of categories, there's a little bit of leeway. Okay, so they're greens and yellows, and then just one green and red. So this green and red here, organizing a safe playing environment. this is what it sounds like. Does your environment look safe for the kids that are on the field? And this will rarely be a red. I mean, this is where we're talking about maybe a coach being unsafe emotionally, yelling at a kid, being rude. Those don't pop up. If your kids are having fun, Michael talked about his kids enjoying the experience of playing, this is going to be green. The rest of these greens and yellows are either you're looking to meet the standard, you're on your way, which would be yellow, or you've met the competency. So assess and identify team and individual needs, define the training session objective, define coaching points, and using appropriate coaching language from the learning plan, reality-based activities, autonomy support, and then reflect on the implementation of the plan to the planning of the training session. We are going to look, Toomey and I, at all of these using your 3.2. There are times when I've said, hey, I saw this in person. I know I can mark it green, even if it didn't shine through in the video. But we want to give you guys the benefit of the doubt on this. Now, if, let's say, your session objective either is unclear in your training session or does not shine through in your final videoed session, maybe the organization was off, maybe you never got to that objective as much as you wanted to, we may mark this as yellow, as, hey, you are still working towards meeting that competency. So at the end, you'll have hopefully all greens up here. And then we'd love to see more greens than yellows, because what we do is we look at how many greens and how many yellows. So if we see at least 4 of these categories in green, then you would earn your license. Your D license would be yours. There you go. If 3 or fewer of these categories here are green, if we have yellows, then we would give you a provisional license. And the provisional status we'll talk about in just a second, but essentially it means you would have to continue to work towards your D license to earn that D license. Our goal in this 3.2 is to get you more greens than yellows. So if you turn in a 3.2 and it does not meet these standards, assuming that we have time, assuming that we aren't up against next week, Toomey or myself will communicate to you, hey, here's what's missing, here's what we need to see. It might involve touching up your actual session plan. It might mean you have to go back and refilm to get these points, but we want you to get the license. We're going to work with you to get the license. This is in your learning center, in the course guide, if you want to look at this on your own between now and when you film, or now and when you submit. So you submit your 3.2. If all is good and we feel like you've hit your marks, you'll see that as marked as satisfactory, and then we will get to our one-on-one meetings. Toomey, have I missed anything? Is there anything you want to add in here?
I unmute myself. No, that's correct. Just as long as you get it done before, the 3.2, any touch-ups or any revisions are done by the 9th. Should be good.
Oh, I had a question, Adam.
But
if you go back to slide 9, do we get a copy of this after the course to see what areas we got right or wrong?
We upload this into your Learning Center profile, so you'll have a copy of this. And then, assuming you pass the course, there is a digital copy of your license that will show up in your Learning Center profile, like your grassroots license did.
I see.
Any other questions?
I think me. Okay. Meanwhile, today was I'll submit it, but for more edits, because I'm not gonna win on the 9th. No, I'd rather submit it for more edits.
Now, keep in mind, guys, this should be a pretty straightforward video. There shouldn't be edits and moving into like 2 minutes here, 2 minutes here. This should look like 12 to 15 minutes of a training session, as if we were on the field watching you.
Okay.
So be careful not to over edit where we don't see the flow of the practice, or we don't see the coaching points taking effect. We need to assess you in the most natural environment possible, which is just, hey, here's a 12-minute cutout of an activity that I'm running with my team. That's what this should look like.
Because I have something I've tried before. Just keep it on a 9, guys. This form here is in the student coach resources. You have this form in your own profile. Do me a favor, go ahead and grade yourself on your own. Get a sense of where you are, you know. Be honest with yourself and grade yourself on it. And hopefully you can finish the final week strong. If there are any things that are doubtful about.
Coaches, I submitted my 3.2 PDF. Could you look at that to edit it or no?
You'll need to submit the whole assignment for us to go in and look at it and offer feedback. So
Okay, I'm gonna record tomorrow.
your 3.2 should be an extension of your 3.1. So if your 3.1 was getting good feedback and we gave you information on that, use that for your 3.2. It should feel like a pretty straightforward process. Use the information we gave you in the in-person when you went through your 3.2s on Sunday.
Copy that. Yeah, I'll record tomorrow, Coach, and I'll have it submitted by the weekend.
Okay. Okay. So once you guys have everything done, and assuming that Toomey or myself are saying, hey, this hits the marks, we would then be able to schedule our one-on-one meeting objective, or one-on-one meeting. Now, both Toomey and myself are going to push out Google Forms for you guys to sign up for the one-on-one meetings. We cannot have a meeting with you until all coursework is completed. Your 3.2 assignment needs to be marked as satisfactory. Any assignments in revision need to be done, marked as satisfactory. We cannot close you out for this course until all assignments are done and we've had our one-on-one meeting. The one-on-one meeting is for us to essentially wrap up this course. The reflections that we started tonight, based on your learning objectives and competencies with a high focus on the coaching with the training session. We can give any answers to questions or clarity, maybe on 3.2 or feedback we gave, or just in general. We will review the summative assessment of 3.2. That's a starting point usually. And then we'll talk to you guys about, hey, here's what are your next steps. I'm assuming quite a few of you have a C license as a goal eventually. We'll talk about, what your steps would be if that is part of the process. If it is just how to manage your teams in the short term to the long term, we'll tie in ideas from the course to help you work on that. But the idea is at the end of the one-on-one meeting, you should be able to say, here's what I'm going to work on for the next month, 6 months, year, whatever it might be. I will tell you guys, I've had these one-on-one meetings where a coach earns their D license, and the conversation is, we have a bunch of stuff we still need to work on. That's healthy. That's fine. I, as a coach, I think I told you this the other day, I have things that I'm really trying to work on as a coach myself in my 16th, 17th year of coaching, club and high school. I still want to get better. So if someone sat me down and said, hey, Adam, here are some things I think you could get better at, I would welcome that feedback. Any questions on the one-on-one meetings? Now, these can be done on phone or Zoom. That's really your coach educator.